present to you are deeply disturbing, but unfortunately they are very true. Smallpox decimated the contact era Native American tribes, making it that much worse. Some say the Indians were possibly purposely infected. The following letters are from 1831 and 1832, and they were addressed to the United States Secretary of War, Mr. Lewis Cass, who also had served for some time as the governor of Michigan Territory. The first letter was written on October 29th, 1831, from Andrew Stevens, who was Speaker of the House of Representatives at that time. And the communication reads, "Sir, I have the honor to inform you that I have returned from a visit to 4 Pawnee villages, all of whom I found in the most deplorable condition. Indeed, their misery defies all possible description. I am fully persuaded that 1/2 of the whole number of souls of each village have and will be carried off by this cruel and frightening distemper. They were dying so fast and taken down at once in such large numbers that they have ceased to bury their dead. Their bodies were to be seen in every direction, laying about in the river, lodged on the sandbars, in the hogweeds around their villages, and in their corn caches, and others were dragged off to the prairies by hungry dogs, where they were torn to pieces by more hungry wolves and buzzards. Their misery was so great and so general that they seemed to be unconscious of it, and to look upon the dead and dying as they were so many dead horses. I presented them with a few small presents which I had taken with me for that purpose, and strange to tell, such is their love of the articles of civilized man that a smile seemed to pass for a moment over their haggard visage. And they requested me to inform their great father in Washington how much they thanked him for sending them a pipe of tobacco in a moment of such dire distress." End quote. I cannot even begin to imagine the suffering which fell upon these poor people. The letter, and to consider that it may have been purposely brought upon them by tainted blankets that were given to them by Europeans. At any rate, the letter also stated that not one under 33 years old escaped the dreaded disease, so it took the young. Writing from Wood County, Ohio, on March 16, 1832, James Jackson, Indian agent to the Ottawa and the Maumee, suggested that when the Indians returned from their winter camps, that they be vaccinated in order to stop the ravages of the disease of smallpox. And then, in a letter dated March 3, 1832, from Isaac McCoy, well, he wrote of the dire circumstances and the need for intervention, and he wrote the following to Lewis Cass: "I have received this moment information from Mr. Likens that it is believed that among the Pawnees, Auts, Omahas, and Poncas, more than 4,000 persons had already died. Of the 3 latter tribes, about 160 had died when the disease had been checked by vaccination." End quote. Now, Mr. McCoy worried that unchecked, the mountain tribes that hadn't been affected yet, as well as the Sioux and the other northern Indians, would indeed catch the smallpox and would have the same devastating effect on them. In another letter, Isaac McCoy wrote the following: "Mr. B.B. Kercheval, who was lately at the Lake Country County, has informed me that smallpox is raging among the Indians between Lake Michigan and the Mississippi River. The Indian agents had used and were using the vaccination which checked some progress of the disease, but he also thinks that the destruction among the Winnebagos must be awful, and it must necessarily become no less so among the tribes to the north and the west if they're not vaccinated." End quote. In the United States, there has been quite a few outbreaks of the smallpox, and each was devastating to the Native American Indians. And some of these numbers are going to sound astronomical, but they are what the numbers that I actually found. Um, in the United States, as I said, there's been a lot of smallpox outbreaks, and each was devastating. But between 1775 and 1782, it is estimated that 30 million Native Americans were infected and died. And I know there was a large population. I didn't realize there was that large of a population. But those are the numbers that I found. Then in 1836 through 1840, there was the Great Plains outbreak, which more than 17,000 Native Americans died, and that was just along the Missouri River alone. Fur trader Francis Chardon wrote, "The smallpox had never been known in the civilized world as it has been upon the poor Mandan Indians and other Indians. Only 27 Mandans were left to tell the tale. It nearly wiped out the Mandan Indians, and there are probably tribes that it did wipe out. It's been estimated, and again this is a huge number, some 100 million Native Americans lost their lives, all of the outbreaks put together. Now it is believed that the entire mess was started by the Europeans giving the Indians blankets tainted with the deadly virus. The evil that man will visit upon others. They didn't look at them as men; they looked at them as savages, and that gave way to the justification for what was called manifest destiny, and it was their destiny to depart and the European destiny to take over. So I leave you with that very sad chapter in the history of the United States of America. And if anybody deserves reparations, it is the Native American Indian. Thank you for being with me. Love you all very much. God bless you, and I will see you again really soon.